And welcome to the Conversation Street to Galbad.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, so I'm trying. Yeah, the only so PSO2 is finally. So Hal, PSO2 is finally out. Oh no, no! Hold on a sec. Cancel. Okay. Oh, that was too close. That was way too close. The game almost tried to launch on me when I didn't want it to launch on me. No, don't do this to me, PSO2.
You mean that bloody game that I can't get a hold of at the
Yeah.
moment? Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
No problem. Well, like I was letting it update in the background, and I kind of completely forgot that once it's done updating, that it
just loads
launches. Yeah, it's like, oh hey, it's done. Okay, now it's time to ruin. Now let's bother you for the day.
I don't think I ever noticed that Rock Taster has this tiny little mouth on top of his head.
On top of his head? Well, wait.
Oh yeah, so it
Oh.
does. I've never noticed that too.
Oh, it's got teeth too and everything. Oh, that's creepy. That's like
I've never noticed that before.
that's not completely terrifying.
Look like big, strong hands, don't they?
Oh god, don't start me or else I'll be singing Never Ending Story.
I don't
And
want a
nobody wants
copyright
that.
claim. I don't want a copyright claim on this video. Oh, it's like I just remind I still that's like one of my favorite scenes from Stranger Things is when they when they just start singing the Never-Ending Story theme song. Which also, yeah, I love the Never-Ending Story, or at least I love the first one. The second one I just like laughing at, even though it's like completely terrible.
There was no third Never Ending Story.
It didn't
There
have
was
Jack
no-
Black.
There was no third Never Ending Story. If I say it enough, it'll gaslight people into thinking there is no third Never Ending Story, and we'll be doing a service to the world.
It didn't have there was no Never-Ending Story 3 with a young Jack Black, a rock biter having a rock wife and a rock son, all living in rock suburbia. It didn't have Falcor being talking like an idiot. Gosh,
Yep,
why did that have
totally.
to happen?
I don't know. I always kind of figured there's something so much fun about terrible movie sequels.
Yeah.
At least that was the only way I could countenance living in a world where there are, 15 Land Before Time movies?
Yeah. There's
That's the
about
question.
there's about 15 of them. I don't know how they got past like 3, but there's 15 of them. There's
I don't know how they got past 1, to be honest with you, because that's a classic. You
exactly.
shouldn't do that to classic films.
Yeah. There was also there's also like 3 Madagascar films. I think 6 Ice Age films.
Jesus, that's 6 too many.
Yeah, how many of them are numbered and how many of them are like Ice Age Back to New York?
I think after Ice Age 3 was when they just started calling them just like Ice Age this title.
Ice Age the Reckoning. Ice Age the Reckoning.
Ice Age, the action heats up.
Ice Age what was it? Ice Age Extinction Extended.
We'll find out that they're all alien dinosaurs from another planet.
I don't even want to think about that.
God, kaiwa-dōri.
There's also like 8 Saw films. 7 of them being with like the most recent Saw film attempting to reboot the franchise, even though like it's supposed to be a reboot but also still be a sequel. Like it's really weird.
How does that work?
It's like
Doctor Who.
yeah, exactly. Ooh, that's a cool looking sword. But yeah,
I don't know
So
if
you-
you can swing it. It's an antique.
So we're saying that the Jigsaw Killer is a Time Lord?
I mean, Might as well be at this point with how many times they... Because the big problem with, like, the Saw movies is that, like, every movie is, like, always takes place before Jigsaw's death. Because there is a point when Jigsaw dies from cancer.
There we go. I told you, like, we'd come back to those tapier things.
Oh my dear lord. Yeah, those are very gross. But yeah, I think what they did was, like, it's sort of like what they did with God of War, where, like, the new God of War is, like, a reboot / still a sequel to God of War 3. It's like that, but with Saw. And also the fact... Yeah. Also the fact of that there are 7 Chucky movies? I want to say 7? And
yeah, but I think only 4 of them are numbered sequels, though. The rest are something of Chucky, something of Chucky, something of Chucky.
Child's Play 1... there's only 3 Child's Play movies, and the rest of them are all titled Chucky. Actually, no, there are 4 Child's Play movies, because,
sure, Child's Play 4 was one with the soldiers and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, there's also the 2019 reboot with Mark Hamill as Chucky. Which is... That movie's the worst. I think that movie's the absolute worst of
all of them.
That
exists. I've never seen that.
It is so it's actually disliked by pretty much every Child's Play fan. Even, like, Jennifer Tilly, who's, like, a big... Because, like, everybody who worked on the Chucky movies really, really like working on the Chucky movies. And they didn't like the 2019 reboot, because it's basically, like, Chucky is like, you could literally take Chucky out of the movie and you'd still have it'd still be the same plot, because it's like because that movie is not about, like, a serial killer transferring his soul into a doll. It's basically an app gone rogue.
Oh, now that sounds silly.
Yeah, like, silly for Child's Play standards.
And I say that considering that the original was a flipping serial killer who did a voodoo spell to put his soul into a doll.
Yeah.
And the app sounds sillier.
Yeah, somehow this movie is sillier than the standard Chucky series.
I don't know, I mean, it doesn't sound too bad by reboot standards. I mean, not having seen the actual movie, just the idea of it.
The idea... Yeah. Go ahead.
Like, gigantic confession. I've been watching a lot of Greatest American Hero recently, and I've been thinking I'd like to see a modern reboot of that series. You know, something where it's not, hey, let's make this thing as 80s as we possibly can, and play up the fact that we have no budget.
Oh, that'd actually be pretty great.
So I'm thinking, like, a down-on-her-luck janitor at some kind of secret government facility where they're trying to replicate the original suit. And for some reason, she's the only one who can make the suit do anything by putting it on. So, you know, you get an episode of the scientists trying to figure out, okay, how do we make this suit work for us? Run experiments on this lady. And then terrorists come in and destroy the entire facility, and the only survivors are the lady with the suit and this one junior lab tech who was out getting coffee at the time. So all the research on how the suit worked is either destroyed or encrypted in some way that they can't figure out how to read, and now they gotta work out for themselves, how do we use this suit and do some good in the world?
Yeah. Honestly, I think the only shows I've wanted to see get rebooted for a long time are, like, 90s Nickelodeon game shows, because I would kill to watch another season of Legends of the Hidden Temple, or, like, Double Dare. But I know, like, I think they've tried doing that, but none of them have worked out.
You gotta be careful with those wishes, because if you wish wrong, the monkey's paw will curl up and something bad will happen.
Yeah, I know. Actually, you know what? There is a monkey's paw to that, because I want a reboot of Legends of the Hidden Temple, and they technically have done that. except it's only available on that dumb streaming app, Quibi, that's, like, trying to make its rounds.
What? What?
Yeah, Quibi is this weird streaming app that's, like, $5 a month, but, like, it basically is like YouTube because it's, like, there's new videos every day, they're only about 10 minutes a piece, but you're spending $5 a month to stream these videos. So it's like, it's really weird.
Oh, speaking of wishes, one that I wanted came true today, and it wasn't me just dying there.
No, that's the price you paid for getting your wish.
Yeah, that is the price. That is a price that I'm worth paying for getting 2 hardcover volumes of Indigo Prime.
Oh, you got that?
Yeah, they're coming out next year.
Nice. Oh. The powder's on the top right. Damn it, Hal.
You can't wake up with a magic bracelet.
I don't know what I'm doing. I am clearly the most. I don't even know what I'm saying. I was going to say a joke and then the joke just completely disappeared from my head.
Why is it that I keep getting, like, phone calls from... I have phone calls I have to take in the middle of these sessions.
Joke failed.
Alright, you want to talk phone calls. I have no idea what's going on with this, but there's this one call I keep getting. It's like, hello, this is Christine, a medical technician calling from Medicare, or something like that. And immediately after that line, it hangs up. Like, they don't wait for you to say anything, it just hangs up immediately. One time I got another line out of it. And I just started saying, you're not a real person, you're not a real person, the whole time that it was talking, and then as soon as it was done the first line, it said, please call us back at this number, and then it gave a number, and then it hung up. I wish I'd written it down, because I could probably report it to someone, but what's the FCC gonna do?
The job, no, wait.
Well, that's the thing. The guy who's in charge of it is heavily in favor of the telemarketers now. Like, no joke. There was a big conference that they had to discuss the problem of unwanted telemarketing calls, and he got a call on his personal phone from a telemarketer in the middle of that meeting.
You can't make
With
that
the
up.
end result that he still decided to open things up and get rid of the do not call list and let telemarketers call whoever they want, whenever they want.
Wow. By the way, I think the only phone calls I've ever had to deal with was I got like a new phone plan with my dad and my stepmom. For some reason, for a solid almost a year and a half, they've stopped now. They've completely stopped. But I was getting phone calls from people asking for Patricia for a solid year and a half. Like, I would just get these random calls from cities I've never been in, just saying, I was like, hello, Patricia. Nope. It's like, some name's not Patricia.
Oh, that reminds me of the dumbest email I ever got.
Ooh, go ahead.
Saying that I owed the Bank of New York a certain amount of money. And can you guess what the problem with this is?
You don't live in New York.
I don't even live in America. So why did I get an email for that?
I mean, don't you know you owe the Bank of New York a bunch of money, man? From that loan you took out from the Bank of New York.
The Bank of New York, which I've never been to.
Yeah, right next to the Empire State Building of New York and the baseball diamond of New York. And the York's Peppermint Patty Factory of New York.
Yes.
I used to love those things.
I've never been a fan of peppermint patties. Like, I get why people like it. I just was like, I don't know. I don't like chocolate mixing with stuff like peppermint or peanut butter. Like, I like caramel and like nougat, but I don't like peppermint.
Didn't we not talk chocolates a week ago?
A couple weeks ago. At this point, it was a couple weeks ago. It was at the very least, it was a good few sessions. Whenever we were just kind of talking about candy.
What even is a peppermint thingy anyway?
A peppermint
I have no
patty?
idea what that is. I have no idea what that is.
Really?
It's like, I want to say kind of like coconut shavings, but with a heavy peppermint flavor and then a thin layer of chocolate around it. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, most likely. My best guess is just like some kind of weird peppermint flavored cream. But yeah, it's literally just like this layer of chocolate with some peppermint filling.
I can't remember the name of it, but it does sound like something we do have here. But I don't think it was called peppermint patty here.
Do you guys have a brand of chocolate called Russell Stover, or is that not a UK brand?
That is not a UK brand.
Okay. Do you guys have Girl Scouts?
And do the Girl Scouts have cookies?
Yeah. And do these Girl Scouts have cookies? They have like coconutties.
I cannot answer that. I have no idea.
Oh man, you need to. That's a popular thing here in the States. Is the U.S. Girl Scout cookies. They have like all sorts of things like lemonades. I can never remember their names.
Several American brands are unfamiliar to me. Remember, I did not know Taco Bell was a real thing for a long time.
Yeah,
That's okay. Neither do most of the people that eat there.
It's true. It's fucking true. You're usually plastered. Taco Bell, when you're plastered and it's 3 in the morning, and McDonald's isn't taking your service anymore.
Now you got the trefoils, the do-si-dos, thin mints.
Yeah, thin mints. That's what they're called.
Oh, thin mints. Well, we do have thin mints.
Yeah. We have the lemonades.
Probably the Andes mints.
Andes mints aren't bad.
Yeah, it's just that every package of Andes mints, if you split it with someone, comes with one less.
Oh god, I'm gonna have to be the glutton and say I never share.
Joey doesn't like sharing his food.
Oh my god, Christmas, just getting a big tin of chocolates and just not sharing them with anyone.
I mean, yeah, man.
It's just great.
It's like, yeah, for me, it's like that, except replace that with like a whole lot of just like Swedish Fish and Sour Patch Kids. The sweetest shit imaginable.
Yeah, there's a candy store that opened up a bunch of branches not too far from me some time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I discovered I was borderline diabetic.
Oh no, the monkey's paw strikes again.
Yeah.
But, up until that point, there were all kinds of amazing things, and also Lester's Fixin' Sodas.
Yes, I know what you're talking about, but go on.
Like, I don't understand how these things exist, but it's like one of those write-in contests where they say, come up with the worst possible idea for a soda flavor, and we'll make it and sell it.
Yep.
It's every one of those, except they, no kidding, make it and apparently sell it.
Yep. The internet has blown those flavors up, or has like blown that brand up in popularity. But like, But yeah, Hal, Lester's Fixin' Sodas is a real thing. Do you want to know? Do you want to know some of the flavors we sell?
What flavors?
Oh, you know, corn on the cob, buffalo wings, ranch.
What the?
Bacon.
What?
Bacon.
What
Bacon
the
soda.
hell is wrong? What the hell is wrong with America?
A lot of things, my man. But we're selling high quality sodas.
And I say that from the country that deep fries most of its shit.
Hey man, deep fried shit's good. It's
Well, especially the stuff you've got over there. You kind of have to deep fry it to get any flavor.
You're not wrong there.
I spent a couple weeks over there, and about all I remember was, I'm sure I ate some food. I couldn't tell you what any of it was, and I'm not sure the people who prepared it could either.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
what, a Leo Griff? Wait, hold on. This is a weird ass enemy.
It's just a wee skin of an earlier enemy.
Yeah, but now it's like more prominent that it's literally like the head of a lion and the body of a chicken.
Yeah, well, it's a hippogriff, except the hippo part, which would be the horse, is now a lion, which is Leo.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite trivia questions is, what does the root hippo mean? It was, oh yeah, you know, something big and water to have to do with hippopotamus. Like, no, it's horse. Hippopotamus is the horse of the water. Hippopotamos.
Huh. Well, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Huh.
Yeah.
Look at that, we actually learned something today.
Hey Hal, I'm actually curious about this. So like, okay, so over here in the States, we have a lot of like, there's a lot of people that I know personally out here in the Midwest, where all of them really love getting themselves into pyramid schemes and then start annoying everyone on Facebook selling their products. You guys have stuff like that? Like, do you have like Mary Kay or like insert like pyramid scheme product here?
Some do slip through the cracks, but mostly we kind of avoid stuff like that because it's kind of frowned upon in the UK.
Yeah, they're definitely frowned upon here in the States.
But sometimes they do slip through the cracks, but most of the time we kind of manage to avoid crap like that.
Yeah, it's mostly like, just like, oh, a classmate I knew from high school is now just like, hey, I'm selling these random products you didn't know you didn't need until now. And I'm just like, is this really like what you do? You're just gonna annoy? Is just like talk people? Is you talk to people on Facebook, say, hey, why don't you just buy this weird product that like I think one of them was like these energy patches, and it's exactly as dumb as it sounds.
Energy patches.
Yeah, you know, like a nicotine patch.
Oh, right.
Imagine that, but with energy, like caffeine. Like,
so, basically garbage.
Yeah. Remember, you ever watched Meet the Robinsons? Hal?
Go figure.
Oh, okay. There's a joke with the coffee patch, which is the equivalent of 12 cups of coffee. It's like that's what it's supposed to be. It's like, oh man, I just did all this with this patch. Oh man.
I'm trying to remember how many cups of coffee was the equivalent of the fatal dose of caffeine. And I know it's some ludicrously huge number. It's like 120 bottles of Pepsi.
Yeah.
Within a day or something like that. But and anytime someone says, you know, some large amount of some substance in a small form, I just think, yeah, if you concentrate that enough, you just slap it on somebody and hey, they're dead.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of a near overdose. I say near because it's only one off. Don't have any more caffeine with once you get this patch on.
reminded me of some anime or manga series, but I can't think which one because it's so non-specific.
Do you have any idea what it's about?
No, I'm not sure I was even thinking of a specific one. Just, maybe some kind of trope where, like, okay, you have this much damage that you can take, or this much time, and then something happens that drives them right up to the edge, and like, okay, one more, and that's gonna be the end of it.
Yeah, Mob Psycho has something like that.
Yeah, the tension thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not really like that.
Wasn't there something like that in Hunter x Hunter as well?
I wouldn't know, because I have yet to actually watch Hunter x Hunter.
That might well be what I was thinking of. Because they do all kinds of ludicrously specific stuff in that series.
And, I don't know, Toguro in Yu Yu Hakusho does a gimmick like that, where he tells you how much of his power he's using to kill you. Or how much of his power you're worth.
Yeah, I mean, this would be kind of like if he said, okay, you can take exactly 202% of my fighting strength, and I've just hit you twice at 100%, so now you've got 2% left.
Yeah. Kill la Kill did that too, with one of the early fights in, with I think it was the second episode, it was, oh gosh, why can't I remember the names? Main girl versus main antagonist, main antagonist for the first arc. Her main girl's Kamui keeps saying that she only has like this percentage of blood left in her body because her Kamui is feeding off of her blood, basically. And it's like if you keep going like this, you're gonna die before you can even get through most of the fight. Ryuko, that's her name.
I know very little Kill la Kill. I've read 3 volumes of the manga adaptation.
It's a lot of fun to watch, but hot diggity damn, is there a lot of there's a lot of NSFW stuff going on.
Yeah, I'd like to say that usually puts me off a series, but then I wouldn't be left with a whole lot left to watch.
Yeah. There's even with the best anime, there's always a form of major fan service.
Okay, so no kidding, I'm actually almost considering writing this if I wasn't already in the middle of 10 other stories I'm never gonna finish. But I've been reading a whole lot of isekai novels recently. The entire genre of somebody dies and gets reincarnated in a fantasy world, and they have to learn how to use whatever either ludicrously overpowered or just ludicrously inappropriate job they've got. And it's always either, okay, you've got something that sounds really reasonable, but for some reason it's just overpowered and destroys everything, or it's something that sounds really great and then turns out to be completely useless, and so they're always at the bottom of the ladder for everything. And just the amount that I've been reading some of the specific stories have got me thinking, mainly just based on the title, I didn't ask to be reincarnated with the job pervert.
There's a isekai like that where it's like, so what, I'm a spider now.
Yeah, I know that one. That's like the least horny isekai I know of, including the one where the guy literally comes back as a vending machine.
What?
Reborn as a vending machine, I now wander the dungeon.
Holy crap, I gotta read this now.
That sounds...
It's pretty alright, kind of middle of the road, I think.
It's not going to live up. It's not going to live up to his title at all, is it?
But yeah, the whole point of the story is the guy has the job pervert, so it's got specific skills, like the strip spell, where he can remove somebody's clothes at a distance, and the strongest armor that he can wear is underwear as a helmet. And any damage that he takes from a female opponent is reduced to about 1%.
Wow.
But he only has about 1% of his momentum.
That takes care of you guys.
So she will literally send him flying, and he will take no damage from it. And so he is determined to make the most of these abilities and actually become a proper hero and actually go save the world using this ludicrous set of things that nobody would ever attempt to put to any kind of heroic purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And all of his party members are female because they're the only ones he can afford, because, you know, all the male swordsmen get snapped up in other parties, and he's like, hey, you know, this tall, angry lady with sword is the only person that can't find a party. It's like, okay, he recharges his MP by getting into lewd situations.
Oh man. I think the only isekais I have ever watched / read are the usual suspects. You know, I've read / watched Konosuba. I've read / watched ReZero. I didn't read, but I watched the first half of Sword Art Online because that's the only half of SAO I like. Which, because the Alfheim arc is not bad, but like it goes downhill after the first half. I've read like the reincarnated as a slime. So what? I'm a spider. What I'm trying to think of, like there's a lot of isekai. There's a ludicrous amount of isekai to read. What else? Overlord. That's an isekai, and that's a really good isekai.
Yeah, that one I've read. Yeah.
There is, of course, the ecchi masterpiece known as How to Not Summon a Demon Lord.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
And I've been reading the manga version of that one. It didn't seem all that bad.
It's mostly like
but again,
anime
by
adaptations.
the standards of the genre.
Yeah, it's mostly the anime adaptations of isekai when things get really overboard with ecchi. But overboard, you know, depending on what your standards for ecchi are. Because like How to Not Summon a Demon Lord, Reincarnated as a Slime. The light novel is very, very tame compared to the anime adaptation.
I just realised we've been talking for 30 odd minutes and we haven't mentioned the fact that Steve looks like an Eggman robot now.
Yeah, I guess I haven't been paying that much
attention. I pointed out
attention.
at some point that it appered you had the sun and moon armor, but that might be like when we weren't recording.
Maybe.
It actually looks like one of the pieces of the robot from the first one.
If it is, that'd be really cool if it was. If it was just like a recreation of like a small scale version of the mech from the last game.
Yeah, the shoulder pad, I think.
Mm-hmm. Because that'd be like how in Metal Gear Solid 4 when Otacon makes a new little Metal Gear assistant for you, based off of Metal Gear Rex, even though he's just this tiny little robot in skates. But he's like a small-scale recreation of Metal Gear Rex from the first game. So he's just this cool little robot guy who helps you out.
Oh boy, here we go. King Namek. Yeah.
I'm trying to think whether I interesting isekai recommendation.
I certainly don't. All the ones that I would have recommended are ones that Kaz just mentioned a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah. And also, another big thing too is just like trying to recommend either reading the light novel or the anime, because while like the anime is usually pretty good at adapting the light novel, the only problem is that like sometimes the anime can just turn into just it makes it feel more like an ecchi instead of it like an adventure, you know. Because again, How to Not Summon a Demon Lord is just like, it's fan service. There's a lot of fan service. Slime.
Yeah, you should just kind of been reading the manga version. Like, yeah, you get some of that, but
yeah,
it's usually like, is it a main plot element? Does it happen excessively, or is it just kind of, well, every chance that we get? Okay, so every woman in the party climbs into the main character's bed for no apparent reason. One that I found really interesting recently was the hero is overpowered but overly cautious. It's like there's a whole bunch of gods, and they all have different worlds that they're trying to preserve, and they're all ranked in difficulty based on, you know, how big the threat of evil is in that world. And then they'll summon a hero from somewhere else, presumably be completely hands-off after that, and let the hero go and save the world. So this is some neophyte goddess who somehow managed to get herself a rank S world. And so she finds a hero whose stats, when he gets reincarnated, are just going to be completely off the chart. So she says, great, you know, summons this guy, and then it turns out that he just overly prepares for everything. Like, he finds out the world of the gods. So he says, yeah, you know, if the bad guy is going to kill everybody in this town in a week, that gives me 10 weeks that I can go train.
Alright.
And just build up to level 50 before leaving the first town.
And then it turns out, yeah, and then it's just he's way over prepared and just defeats the enemy within like 2 seconds.
Well, actually, it turns out that the bad guys in this world didn't feel like waiting around for the heroes to grow, so they just kind of sent all their strongest generals right from the start to the very first town. And if he hadn't prepared that much, he would have died. Did you have to go and have that coincidental timing?
that was kind of perfect.
But it gave me another idea of something that I think would actually work better as an actual game, but I have no idea how the mechanics would work. You know, something sort of the longest 5 minutes-ish, where it's, I accidentally defeated the final boss right at the start of the game, and now there's nothing left to do, but the world still needs saving. The idea being the tutorial dungeon, you got your normal enemies that give you a bit of experience, learn the game mechanics, and then at the end you find a chest that's got an instant death item in it, and then the final boss shows up. He's like, no, I'm not going to let you leave the cave and go build up enough power to defeat me, I'm just going to kill you right now. And so you're thrown into a, you can't escape this fight, and if you die it is actually game over. So the only thing you can potentially do is throw this instant death item. For some reason it works. Final boss dead, you get 9 million experience, you get to the maximum level, unlock every skill, and then the game progresses from there.
You used to be the Dark like, Lord, now what?
It's like using the cheat codes on the updated Final Fantasy 9.
yeah, and you can beat the game in 40 minutes. Yeah, that actually sounds pretty. It sounds pretty amazing, but it'd just be literally you do side quests and you try to just figure out what the fuck you need to do for the rest of the game.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, maybe try and come up with a full game's worth of problems where strength literally doesn't help you at all, but I think it'd be more fun to have just a complete RPG where all the random battles are just nothing because you can just wave your fingers and the enemies die in front of you.
That's actually Overlord, technically speaking. Like that's like what Overlord is. I know. Where it's literally like new game plus the light novel.
I knew all along.
Yeah.
Because like Overlord starts off with our main character being stuck in his game character, who's already fucking like powerful. Like he has endgame magic, has this mega powerful staff. Like he's just basically he is like the Overlord. He's quite literally just already like can just destroy everything.
Or just the courage to make it through another day.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of In Another World with my smartphone, which I know is like everybody's bottom tier series, nobody likes it. I have a lot of fun, even though it really is just kind of... The main character happens to have every kind of magic, really high stats, amazing party members, and he can also just put everything on his phone. And he also could just call up God and say, "Hey God, what's up? I need something."
Alexandra.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. I think I've been recommended that by like Amazon's like Kindle. Like, we recommend you read this now. All right. So after being teleported into another world, yeah, and after being teleported from another world into this world, looks like I think we're done.